Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. First off, I want to thank you for tuning in with me today. For those of you guys who don't know, my name is Jenny Baker and I am a Forex educator inside of a couple of different platforms. So if you've happened to come across this video today, we're just going to kind of be going over some trades we looked at on August 3rd, which UTC time is August 4th, in terms of the candles on the chart. Kind of go over how those played out using the Simplcity system, right? And in terms of finding new entries for tonight, I was considering going live. However, most of the big moves have already happened, like in terms of the JPY and everything going on around the world. The bigger moves have happened. So now we need to wait and let the market kind of exhaust itself, finish what it's doing to look for the new plays. So with that in mind, obviously we have to kind of go over our risk disclaimer that says, hey, these classes are recorded, not pertinent to tonight, but you guys get the gist. Nothing that's discussed in this video is to be considered financial, legal, or investing advice. And last but not least, I practice high risk, high reward trading. You can follow similar steps with safer, lower risk, lower reward trading. So there's my disclaimer. So let's go ahead and go back over to the charts real quick and go over what we looked at on August 3rd. Again, that was the 4th. We actually recorded that call at the 0 o'clock candle on August the 4th. It's about a 20-minute recording. And in that time, we looked at 6 trades. That was USD CAD for the sell, Euro USD for the buy, XRP for the buy, AJ for the buy, and GA, which we were already in. We said we were in at that. We wrote it down for the sell, and then NZD CAD for the buy, head and shoulders. So of those 6 trades that took us about 20 minutes to look for, right? 20 minutes using Simplcity. We actually had 4 wins and 2 losses, and that's okay, because at the end of this batch of 6 trades, we ended up profiting over 6,400 pips. That's 6,486 pips in 20 minutes every time. That means the minimum you would have made, in theory, with the way that we're, because of how what Ripple is worth, is approximately $648. Obviously, if we were using the standard lot sizes, that's anywhere from $64,000 to $6,000 in 20 minutes of your time. So that does vary from broker to broker. We're not going to get into all that, but let's go ahead and first off go look at the pairs that won and or lost. So starting from the bottom to the top, let's go to NZD CAD. Probably could have just started from the top. Again, that was August 3rd, well, the 4th at the 0 o'clock candle, right? So let's go to that. Let's find it. Can't keep my lines on the chart, otherwise I would do this prior to the call, but it doesn't let me. So that's August 4th. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, we're looking for the 0 o'clock candle. We were looking for the buy on the 0 o'clock candle there. We're waiting for it to break a fractal, right? That's typically the rule that we're using. We're waiting for confirmation in addition to our Simplcity signal, right? We're still waiting for the confirmation. Remember, we're going for at least, oopsie, please stay still. Don't be a silly head. I'm gonna try that again. That would be my Apple product for those of you guys who don't like Apple. So again, we're going to the 4 o'clock candle. That's approximately 84 pips, right? And you guys can see that on screen. The smallest ADR of the range from the last 12, 5, whatever, 12, 4, and 1 week is 68. So that's still not bad, right? That means altogether, we still got plenty of pips out of this and room to kind of protect this trade before it did anything else, okay? We had plenty of room for this to make its move, figure out what it's going to do, and go on with our life. So that one, of course, we got our 84-ish pips out of it, bare minimum. You should have closed, protected, or did something in and around the smallest ADR for the last 1, 4, 12 weeks. So that's NZD CAD. GAUD itself is actually a loss. We were looking for the sell in and around on August 4th, right? The 0 o'clock candle. It technically did move in our direction enough, to say we could have protected. But since we're trying to do something duplicatable and evident, right, we're trying to stay the course, this did not move enough of the ADR. The average daily range in the last 1, 4, and 12 weeks has pretty much been 100 pips per day. So with that in mind, we did not come close enough to that for us to count that as a win. So overall, this would be a loss. If I go to August 4th at the 0 o'clock candle, sure wish I could keep a line on here. Oh, wait until I get to the right candle. The bottom of this candle is all the way up in here. Even if you took it all the way to the top, you're still looking at about 170 pips negative. That's okay. Obviously, that's disheartening, but that doesn't have to make or break your account if you're using proper risk management. So that's G-odd. Let's take a look at AJ. AJ, we were looking for the buy, 4-hour time frame. Let's go to the candle in which we would have been looking for it on. Let's see. Again, we're going for at least one. If I can get it right, maybe. Maybe, baby. Let's see. 8 for the 0 o'clock candle. Remember, all we're doing is waiting for the first break of that very first fractal. So you can see the fractal there. From that break, did we at least get one ATR? Yes, we did. That's 72 pips from there. It actually went a little bit more, but we're only counting to the minimum part of that ATR. So you at least got your 70 pips. Not bad. You protected. You're good. You at least got something. Ideally, you're closing out of a big portion of your trade at one ATR, no matter what, and letting the rest run, or you're scaling in and out depending on what your management style is. So there's that one. I think I'm going to say a Ripple for last. Let's take a look at Euro USD. Euro USD is another loss actually, and I can kind of zoom in. Just like the last pair, it technically went in your favor at least some, but not enough for us to count it, right? So not enough for us to count. It broke this fractal, so you have to say yes. And even once we broke this structure, which we talked about on that call, it didn't quite move the ADR. It's not enough for us to protect or to validate that, hey, we won this trade. Either way, your stop loss was pretty small. I mean, worst case, it was 20 to 30 pips at the very most. There's no reason to have it way back here. There's just none. So really negligible loss there. And then last but not least, I'm going to save the best for last actually. UCAD, another pair that was just kind of all over the place. That week was NFP. We were looking for the sell, and actually I was wrong. We got 3 losses and 3 wins, and still averaged over 6,400 winning pips. So I'll make sure I keep that in the right notes. Let's go to the right candle. That's August 3rd, 4th. I'm looking for it. The 0 o'clock. So Euro USD, USD CAD, we were looking for the sell. And if you look up there, the ADR is about 56 pips. We don't quite hit that. I mean, we get really close, right? We get really close, but we don't hit it. It's just not enough. And if we're going to do something duplicatable, there's no way that this number was smaller at this point. So with those numbers being larger, it's not even a possibility or something we could potentially argue. So with that in mind, that has to count as a loss, even though it technically moved 50 pips in our favor. Let me zoom out and figure out what that loss would have been. Together, I have it written down as negative 65. Let's find out together. So from where that break was, again, we're going to here. Looking. You're looking at around 50, and I wrote down 65 pips. So anywhere from 50 to 75, I mean, anywhere in that range, kind of pretty comparable ballpark, but you shouldn't have had a bigger stop loss than that. Last but not least, we talked about Ripple buying, and it did. It bought beautifully, perfectly, go figure. Now we're looking for that potential short-term sell-off. Actually, that's probably a really good trade for today. We're not discussing that. So I'm going to the forward from the bottom of my screen. You can see it down here, right? We were waiting for the break of this. So anywhere on this candle, right? We were looking for August 4th, the 0 o'clock candle. We were waiting for the break of that. We talked about this obviously going up $1.70, $1.80, did not make it as far as we wanted it to, and then we were waiting for the pullback. We were waiting for this to kind of do a small correction, which is what it's doing now, today, right? From where we entered all the way up, that's 6,190-ish pips, right? That's not bad at all. Definitely not a bad way to be. 6,000-ish pips, definitely worth your fortune. You can see that this ADR is really high compared to the last few weeks because, well, it's been explosive. The winter of crypto is finally over, and that's what you're seeing on most of those crypto pairs. So instruments, I guess you could say. So that was the results from August 4th. Let's get really quick. Most of the moves as we clicked through, I clicked through prior to class, I should say, your JPYs have already moved. The USDs have already made their kind of impulse moves, right? The NZDs made their impulse move. The best looking trade that I could find tonight, aside from the cryptos, right, is actually, see if I can find it. Pretty sure it is on NZD. So you have your beautiful kind of buy signal, this beautiful kind of spring down, popped up. We've already retested. We're done with that. Exactly where we want to be. This kind of impulse move to the downside, double bottom, right, W formation, huge engulfing candle. We've already retested where price broke out. So this is an ideal kind of area to take an active entry as soon as you have a confirmation on a smaller time frame. That's how I'm viewing this. So this is the 1 hour chart, odd NZD, and if I scroll up, we know that the ADR is 52 points, 52 pips, 47 pips, anywhere in that ballpark. But if I go to a higher time frame, this has some room. Has a lot of room to kind of retest. So even from where price is currently at, your stop loss would be reasonably small, it'd be less than 100 pips, and your potential is 200. So that's a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, right? Before you get any kind of major reaction, it's going to be somewhere in this ballpark. So not a bad way to be overall, and I kind of like that trade. So with that said, if you have any other questions in regard to specific topics, questions of any kind really, and you want me to go live, then I can totally do that, and just maybe message them on Telegram or put them in the chat, and I will do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, please take a look at the cryptos and notice that they definitely have a little bit of room to kind of come down. And of course, maybe consider looking at Australian NZD. Otherwise, have a wonderful week. Take care. And last thing I forgot to mention, in our private group, actually starting next week, I just thought of Donna. She would remind me and kill me. That next week we are going to be having a challenge where we give away over $1,500 in cash prizes. And it's really, really simple. It just takes participation, skills, and learning. So if you're not yet in that group and would like to be, please make sure you message on YouTube or what have you, and definitely get started, go through all the massive amounts of information to kind of get caught up with the strategy so you know what we're doing and you know how to win. It's not too late to enter. You can totally still come anytime in the next couple of weeks and you could still potentially win some of those cash prizes. So I hope you have a great evening. Take care and God bless.